Who is this? This is the last Grossman. Who is this? Oh, okay. Face. First, take a big step back and literally your own face! I will you up! Did you find out who that was?
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and it appears that some of the other streaming services outside of Netflix have been picking up on what's been going down. And what's been going down is their stock price, their subscriber counts, their revenue per user, everything that keeps a CEO employed at a company. And now Paramount Plus has vowed they will not remove old content that some people find offensive. In fact, the CEO's quote is along the lines of, "It's all on demand, so you don't have to watch anything you don't want to." I mean, doesn't that feel like exactly what we've been saying too? Now, you can criticize a show, we do it here all the time, for being like exceedingly woke or whatever, but you don't have to watch it. Now, with a streaming service, some portion of your money will go to those shows, and so I can see why people would have a vested interest. But this is clearly in response to Netflix just absolutely tumbling, seemingly out of control. And this article here, Paramount CEO says streaming service will not remove old content some find offensive. It's all on demand. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to. This is via bounding into comics. By the way, speaking of streaming services, if you have one, and I'm sure many people have at least one, there's a whole world of content that you can't see for various reasons. If you choose to get a VPN, it will unlock loads of movies. And it's like, sometimes it's like Shaun of the Dead, for example. For whatever reason, couldn't watch it in the United States. There's a movie I was looking up last week that was like a documentary on like modern day witches. That was only on like the BBC player. Well, I used my VPN to magically transport myself to Britain, and I watched it on the BBC player. So if you want to unlock the maximum potential of your existing streaming services, make sure you use a VPN. The one I use is private internet access, and I have a massive 83% off discount and a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't have one, check out private internet access. The link will be in the description. Amidst a current media environment where major studios have taken to memory holding any production that has ever been in the slightest chance of specifically offending the most overly sensitive modern sensibilities, Paramount CEO Bob Bakish has made it clear that his company's Paramount Plus service will not be engaging in that practice. And we've seen this from everything from music lyrics where people came after "Baby, It's Cold Outside" to, legitimate movies where maybe things just didn't age that well. For example, maybe things were, like modern sensibilities, or, things evolve. Maybe the bundle of sticks words, whatever was used frequently. The best example I have used frequently in the 90s is even in Bill and Ted. But, those things have been getting removed. But then, which is like, oh, okay, maybe I see that. But like some other things where it's just totally absurd. People have been bending the knee everywhere. Paramount clearly is looking at that and thinking and seeing the negative effect it's having on paying subscribers. If it worked, if it was for the better, like if people actually responded positively to this type of censorship, everyone would be doing it. Bakish broached the subject of his studio's historical catalog while fielding questions from The Guardian regarding recent rumors that Paramount may be interested in purchasing the subsequently privatized local British broadcaster Channel 4, all of which he ultimately declined to comment on. But goes on to say, quote, "By definition, you must have some things that were made in a different time and reflect different sensibilities," he told the outlet. "I don't believe in censoring art that was made historically. That's probably a mistake." Addressing audience members who may feel compelled to call a given piece of content to be outright removed from availability, quote, "It's all on demand. You don't have to watch anything you don't want to." As noted above, Bakish's outlook towards the ever-changing tides of The offense and cultural acceptability marks him as a noted outlier among his competitors, who in contrast have no qualms with buckling to public pressure at even the slightest hint of outrage. In 2020, Netflix removed a scene from the 9th episode of The Office, where Dwight Christmas in the entirety of 14th episode of Community's second season after some viewers took offense at respective blackface jokes, neither of which endorsed the act, but rather drew humor from how certain characters were ignorant to the fact that it was still highly offensive. In light of the outrage, Tina Fey also requested that multiple episodes of her sitcom 30 Rock, which featured similar jokes centered on the concept of blackface, be removed from any and all streaming services. Later that same year, popular Cartoon Network programming block Adult Swim announced that they had permanently retired multiple episodes across their various, including the Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Shake Like Me, which was hilarious, where Master Shake gradually begins to turn into a stereotypical black person after being bitten by a radioactive black man, and the Boondocks episode, The Story of Jimmy Rebel, whose satire features a country singer singing extraordinarily racist lyrics. Interestingly, clips of the former still remain alive on the Adult Swim YouTube page. Disney Plus may be the notorious offender when it comes to this practice, having removed numerous episodes and multiple series from their platform. Such examples include the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody episode, where former fakes dyslexia to get out of doing homework, the episode of the 1994 Fantastic Four cartoon, where in the world that shows the World Trade Center, and the Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends episode, where the characters track Red Skull to an island full of the bad guy from WW2 imagery. Again, none of those episodes seem particularly offensive, or any kind of reason to be outraged, but they do. Now, notably, his anti-censorship stance appears to be a recent development, as Paramount Plus has provably pulled content as recently as just last year. In March 2021, SpongeBob SquarePants episode Midlife Crustacean and Quarantined Crab were removed. The former out of concern that it had a panty raid subplot, was not kid appropriate. That's maybe fair. And the latter out of sensibility for the ongoing coof. Oh, somebody got sick, and we got people are sick, and now I would say arguably this is probably not a decision that is led ideologically, where we have like Ted Sarandos of Netflix basically refusing to remove like Dave Chappelle's stand-up, which most of us would agree with, but also refusing to remove content like that dancing kid movie. Both falling under his, expressed, this is, artistic expression, even though it made you feel uncomfortable, we're going to leave it on. A lot of people left Netflix over that. And a lot of people also allegedly left over the Dave Chappelle stand-up. But this is the problem. If you just have a broad sweeping kind of policy that it's like, we're not doing it, we're not going back and retroactively changing content simply because it hasn't aged well or because it offends your delicate sensibilities, but we're just not doing that. If they just had this policy, then it would never be an issue. But because, Netflix with 10,000 employees or whatever they have, constantly bends to the outrage or mob, or Disney or all these other places that were constantly doing it. Once you do it once, you open yourself up to this level of control where people who have no control in the real world feel like they get this huge sense of control when they can pretend to be outraged about a theme park ride at Disney and force them to change it, like they did with Splash Mountain. Again, some things don't age that well. And I know, for example, that ride was like, not the greatest. But I felt like you could have like updated it, or you're like, I don't know. It just, when I was a kid, I never ever took it as anything even remotely racist. But, somebody with a gender studies degree wrote their thesis on it. So Disney had to change the whole thing. We see this with Netflix. I mean, if we look at the Netflix stock, Netflix ranks last among streamers for perceived value, but still the number one must-have service. So essentially, they're holding all their customers hostage. This, after Hulu jumps on streaming cancellation train, giving shows more than one season. You know, the show Woke that came on, that failed. You know, and just 2 months after Woke dropped season 2 on Hulu, its latest series to end up in the gutter, according to Dateline. The series, which premiered in September 2020, followed an African-American cartoonist named Keith, who is inching towards mainstream success until his life changes in a single incident, and he develops a new outlook on the world. Starring talented group of comedians, including New Girl vet Lamorne Morris, he is funny, and Workaholics Blake Anderson, he's also funny. The series seemed to be in good hands with a balance of real-world issues and surrealist and frankly bonkers comedy. Luckily, Hulu doesn't look to be in short supply of wit, but Woke's end will definitely be felt by its fans. There just weren't any fans. You know, like the idea, like it really advertised itself as like this culture battle show, and I was just out. You can call me privileged, you can call me whatever you want, but I only have a few hours a week to watch a show, and I want to be entertained. I don't want to be lectured at. I could turn on mainstream media if I want to do that. You know, Netflix disrupted entertainment with binge viewing. Now, can it avoid disruption in itself? You know, they're trying to change things now. They split the Stranger Things thing into 2 seasons because too many people were subscribing just for a month to watch Stranger Things and then unsubscribing. I think the tide may be turning, and the way you know this is the fact that they're doing it. It's clearly driven by financial reasons, not because they want to do the right thing by free speech. That's not what corporations do. But I'll take this, and of course, we'll have to keep watching and see if they go back on this. But for now, I'll take this as a W. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, please click that red subscribe button down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.